telling the stories of Kansas City nonprofits and the people behind them. Casey Cares is the intersection of the profit and the nonprofit community, making Kansas City a better place to live, work, and play. Casey Cares is proudly sponsored by the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation. I'm Ruth Baum-Biggis. Community unity has been a challenge over the past few years. Between social injustice issues and a global COVID pandemic, divisiveness has soared all over the place. Well, one organization decided to move us out of this rut and through some colorful and whimsical art design to bring us together here in Kansas City, the heartland of America. Kansas City has some of the biggest hearts in the country, and you'll likely have seen the effort popping up all around the metro through the Parade of Hearts. How did this all come together, and who spearheaded this drop of joy in our community? Well, we're going to find out from one of the powerhouses behind this colorful, what I call a movement. We want to welcome Jen Nesback, who is president of a philanthropy and event management agency, but she's a board member and co-director of the Parade of Hearts. Jen, welcome to Casey Cares. We're so glad to have you.
Thanks for having me today.
All right. They're all over the place. What is this Parade of Hearts?
Parade of Hearts is an initiative of bringing a public art display to our Kansas City region over the next couple of months and have everyone have the opportunity, whether they live up north, south, east, or west of the region, come together as family, friends, neighbors to enjoy these one-of-a-kind pieces of art and have them on display through the end of May.
Okay, well, as we all know, something like this is not we got this idea. Next week, we're going to do this. Would you share with us how this whole concept started? Where did it come from?
It's really inspiring because this is very indicative of Kansas Cityans. The plan started pre-COVID. It was a small group of Kansas City leaders having breakfast, led by an executive member from the University of Kansas Health System, and they talked about doing these heart displays that could benefit the cardiac program. And a heart was sketched on a napkin as many ideas come to life, as thoughtful leaders come together. And then, as we know, the pandemic hit. And as things were shutting down, those conversations continued. But what the University of Kansas Health System did was they said, this is bigger than us. There are so many people hurting and in need. How can we really expand this to not only support possibly our COVID patients, but others in the community, and not only get support from what I would call the love support, but also funding for those greatly impacted. In the summer of 2020, a group of 8 board members formed the Parade of Hearts, and we've been working on it ever since.
Okay, you make it sound really simple. And I know things like that are not really simple. Can you dig down for us a little bit, pulling people together from different organizations, different missions, etc.? How does that happen?
The first was, like many other philanthropy endeavors, is you're going to establish kind of your mission, and the mission also being coupled with what are the pillars of support you want to give to an organization or an entity, a group. And so we chose 5 pillars that the Parade of Hearts would be supporting. So we will call them 5 beneficiaries. And in 2020, we spent the next 6 months looking to community leaders and talking through what organizations best fit under these pillars, and also have the capacity to get funding down to those directly that need it It's one thing to raise money and support an organization operationally. It's another that they have the path and the ability to get that funding directly to those in great need. And so in early 2021, we announced the 4 beneficiaries, the organizations, and that is first being our founding member, the University of Kansas Health System. They're directing funds to help our what we're calling long haulers, patients of COVID that have long-term effects on the heart. Second organization is Mid-America Regional Council. They have been extraordinarily incredible in the support on both sides of the state line. What a lot of people don't know is their ability to support our child care agencies and early childhood education as well. That's where they will be directing their funding. The next organization is AltCap. They are primarily known for a lending institution for locally owned women and minority owned businesses. Their funding received from Parade of Hearts, they will be making grants to these minority owned businesses around the region. And then the other organization is Visit KC. They have been instrumental in helping us identify how we can get funding to our locally owned businesses in the hospitality and tourism industry. We all know they've been impacted, but how do we support them? And with the support of Visit KC Foundation, they will be making grants to those industry owners in Kansas City. And I purposely left number 5 to last. It's not one entity, it is an incredible group of people, and those are our local artists. They are considered one of our 5 beneficiaries. Every artist whose design was selected is receiving a $2,000 stipend. And with that, we're very proud to say that over $250,000 has been given to our artists to make these hearts come to life.
All those are wonderful causes. Some of these folks we've even been lucky to have on the webcast. So it's great to hear about that. We've had the folks with Mark, we've had some folks from KU. I would think when you start a project like this, it's sometimes a challenge. You know, everybody's got a worthy thing. It sounds like maybe the pandemic even influenced a little bit where you all decided to go forward with this. Can you talk about the impact of the Big P?
Yeah, the Big P. Absolutely, the pandemic veils over all that we looked and considered, and artists being one of them. They were not considered, crucial in the sense of needing funding and support. We actually felt like they were ones that really needed support, especially what we're seeing today, the love and unifying art really brings to people. It's a place to congregate. It's a feel good. I also want to talk about how the beneficiaries were selected because the pandemic brought great implications financially to a lot of people, but it also opened up some things that have been happening, civil unrest, really some tough, challenging injustices. And I think that was in part influencing us and how we would bring support and how we say today, it's those impacted of the events of the last couple of years.
That's all right. We love Zoom. I can hear the pup in the background. That's what it's about, folks. We love to bring everybody to the table. So with these causes and everything, let's get into the nuts and bolts. How did you go about executing this and letting artists know and the community know?
It's such a great question because, as I talked about 6 months vetting beneficiaries, we spent the next 6 months, the first 6 months of 2021, getting feedback from municipalities, city leadership, organizations on how do we bring this to the public. And there were challenging conversations. There were things that we wanted to make sure that we were looking at in a very broad scope. And so we invited many to the table over many months to talk about how do we do a call for artists? How do we make this a local event, but setting a national example for the rest of the country, how the Heartland came together. And we didn't get here without all of those conversations, tough questions. And, several arts organizations were part of those conversations, and they said, getting artists to submit designs in such a broad cast can be challenging. And so we were prepared for that. What we weren't prepared for is when we did the call for artists in June of last year, we had 700 submissions. And so we didn't have 700 heart sponsors, so we knew, a little pun intended, we were going to be breaking some hearts because the design submissions were incredible. And what's amazing is all 700 design submissions came from artists that were deeply connected to Kansas City. And so there was an independent jury selection panel that had to take 700 designs and bring that down to the 154 that we will now see out in the public. So it was a long summer going through those designs. Thankfully, that was not any part that the board members of Creative Hearts was part of. And they had a tough job, but boy, they delivered.
You had to do surgery.
Yes.
You had to do surgery. But at the same time, maybe you have designs now for the next several years. Think about it that way. Continuity.
I think so. I think we're going to see some of these hearts live a long time permanently around Kansas City.
Now, you mentioned, you came together with the concept of what you wanted to do and all of that. Let's talk funding. These hearts are not an inexpensive little creation. I have a friend who was lucky enough to be chosen as one of the artists, and talking with them through the process. I mean, this is quite a thing. So we'll talk about the technicalities of making the heart, but how did you get funding to support all of this?
Well, I know you know this, and many Kansas Cityans, we are one of the most philanthropic cities. It's such an honor and a privilege to be a part of any charitable event in Kansas City. But it takes the first couple to make that commitment first, to give us the lift that's needed, and then to help us make the asks for others to join in supporting what I would consider a brand new initiative. We're familiar with the cows, but this isn't the same organization. And so many thanks to J.E. Dunn, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City, and NBKC Bank of Kansas City. They are the first ones in that pledged a significant amount of money that then helped propel us into reaching out, talking about Creative Hearts with other leaders, individuals, and companies. And I am so proud to say that we have raised $1.9 million, and that has been the reason why we have 154 hearts for all of Kansas City and those visiting Kansas City to see these beautiful art displays. It is because the funding was there.
Well, congratulations to you all. Raising money is no easy task, which we've talked about numerous times on the webcast, and trying to help people figure out how to do that, given we live in a philanthropic community, but lots of people want those funds. Let's talk, though, about those hearts. What are the hearts made of? How were they created? And how long a process has that been to actually make them into the big hearts that they are?
Well, as we're getting ready to kick this off, I feel like I'm saying how easy it was to raise money, how easy it was to secure all these designs. It's the board of directors, it's community leaders, it's everybody that has helped bring all of this together. but could not have done it without the artist. And how this started last year was several engineers and artists started talking about how do we bring a structure that will live temporarily on display outdoors in the spring in Kansas City, in the weather elements, but it also will have a very long shelf life for those that will eventually own these. And so the design was ultimately what we have today, and that is a fiberglass, three-dimensional heart that is 5 feet tall, 5 feet wide, and in total weight, it weighs about 400 pounds. So these were fabricated. They were brought to our partner, Dimensional Innovations, where they housed these blank canvases and helped orchestrate a very complex logistics of having every artist of all 154 hearts pick them up, load them, get them to their studios, their homes, their schools. So then for the next couple of months, the artists could then work and complete their designs.
So we had traveling hearts.
Yes, and we have many pictures of people sending us pictures, pictures of hearts on trucks and trailers as they were dispersed, to the artist studios and places where they would be working on them. It was a lot of fun to watch.
And so once they had put their creation on this three-dimensional canvas, what happened to the hearts to make sure that they'll stand up in our lovely spring of Kansas City?
It's such a, it is, we joke about it, but work very hard to do to the best of our ability, get them weather ready. And so as the artists were bringing them back, completed with their designs, we told the artist, we'll take on the expense of getting them weather ready. And so between Dimensional Innovations and CarStar, we clear coated these hearts, very much like cars, vehicles are clear coated, very much the same fashion. And so we spent the month of February getting them weather ready, and then for them to be temporarily placed out in the public. So, yeah.
And they're out and about. I've seen them all over. I don't think you can miss them, which leads me to the question of how do you decide where they're going to be in this huge metropolitan area that we have?
That is probably one of the most difficult things that we, as not only a board, but a completely separate committee, helped us determine where these hearts would go. There are so many incredible places that hearts could be placed. We could not get everywhere. We wished we had 500 more hearts to put out. But I'll tell you, with the help of representatives from municipalities of cities around the region, arts councils formed a fairly large committee that helped identify these locations. And they had to steer in our secondary part of our mission, and that is that we would be placing hearts in not all of the usual suspect locations. We love Union Station, we love the plaza, and of course there are hearts there, but we also wanted to make sure that hearts would be placed in undermarketed areas and areas that normally would not be in the top 10 list. Because when people come to visit these hearts, we want them to learn about those neighborhoods, whether it's historical, present day, or future. And we sure hope they patron while they're visiting these hearts.
Well, we should tell the audience, it's not just the heart. There's a little information there, isn't it, about the artist and about the design?
Yes. So
who are these?
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, you please.
Well, I think, if we reference the cow parade, which was 21 years ago, it was a paper map and people enjoyed it. And it's fun seeing, there's a couple of cows still sitting around outdoors and indoors, but technology wasn't there. And now today, we can put that support of information in the hands of those visiting the hearts. So through our website and a specially designed mobile app is there for a tour guide. And I'll just give you a good example. If you and I were visiting a heart, let's say 18th and Vine near the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, and we open up the app, the artist is going to come through on a video or voiceover in their own voice, tell us about their design, their inspiration. And we just wanted to put them front and center. This is their masterpiece out on the heart. We're going to talk a little bit about why the heart is placed in that area, and then invite area businesses that can also interact with the guest through the mobile app. So, for example, if the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum wants to offer a buy one, get one free ticket to the museum, they can offer that through the mobile app as well. So it is a robust mobile app in the sense that it's going to kind of give you a passport and keep track of how many hearts you've visited. It will interact with your social media. It will allow you to kind of challenge others. We know that's already happening. Cities are challenging one another. Companies are challenging their competitors. Is how many hearts will your organization visit over the next couple months?
Where can people find out about everything under the sun, excuse the pun, about the hearts, and where to get that mobile app?
One place. Everything that they need to know is at theparadeofhearts.com. And even there, they can download the mobile app, whether it's an iPhone or Android. All of that information is there. And for those not savvy in the smartphone side of things, we have given them everything they need to know inside the mobile app, including artist information, heart design and descriptions. All of that is in the app as well, including a map.
And can we order these lovely shirts that you are wearing? I see a heart there.
You can. It's so exciting. This particular heart is sold in several places, but available in different colors and variations. This particular shirt is at Charlie Hustle's store on the plaza and also online. And these shirts are also being sold in every area Price Chopper. I think there's 54 Price Choppers that will make shirts available over the next couple of months while supplies last. I will tell you, they're going fast.
I better go run out and shop. Before we run out of time, I want to make sure that everybody knows these hearts will be on parade, obviously, but there is a fundraising behind this so that you can fund these causes you've talked about. Give us just a little detail about what that will be and when people could maybe go bid on a heart.
Oh, thank you. Yes. First is thank you to everyone listening and for your support. It is to drive as much funding to these organizations as we can. And we can't do it without the support of the community. They can go straight to our website. $20, $50 will make an impact. We've got to get these childcare agencies open. We've got to support our locally owned businesses. And they can go straight to the website or mobile app and donate right there. So thank you for that. And then just so everyone knows, they're only on public display through the end of May. So June 1st, we start collecting all of the hearts, and they will go up for auction in the middle of June. And we will make it available on our website, but the public will have the ability to bid on those hearts if they so choose to keep it for themselves. So we're really excited to bring that to everyone in the middle of June.
Well, we have to also share, this is all being driven voluntarily.
Yes, we've got a number of partners that have been plugged in to make this all happen. The logistics is amazing, but very, it's the most complex I've ever worked in. And having done this for years and years of events and coordination, but I'm so thankful for the number of volunteers, the committees, our board, resources from our partners that have been pledged to get these hearts out, to get our artists taken care of, and to get the funding that is so desperately needed. So Ruth, thank you so much.
Well, it takes a village. Absolutely. All right. So the burning question is going to be, they're out there this year. What about the future?
Well, I'm thankful that you asked, because the more people are asking, the more those conversations are happening, is what does the future for Parade of Hearts look like? It is an initiative that will go back to the health system, but I think that, again, pun intended, they are really looking at that this is still bigger than just themselves. So I would say be on the lookout for what the 2.0 Parade of Hearts may look like in the near future.
And is there a way that the public can volunteer at this point, or you really want that go tour, punch a donation, whatever?
That's it. At this point, we want friends, family, even I know that we've got school field trips that are planning activities around these hearts. This is for the public. Come and enjoy them. Have lunch together. This is a unifying time, and I hope that they see this through the hearts. And I will just say, it is a much needed after a long 2 years. And we hope that everyone leaves more inspired and proud of Kansas City really being the true heartland of the country.
Well, they certainly bring a smile to your face when you see them. The only problem I found is I saw one on a busy intersection and I'm turning thinking, oh, I better drive and not, so I have to figure a way to loop back around and not be a traffic problem.
We worked very hard in making sure that there was ample parking, pedestrian safety. We worked very hard to make sure those happen. And I'll tell you just very quickly, I would take a look at the map. If you're looking at visiting, these hearts go as far north as Weston, south Overland Park, as far east as Blue Springs, and west into the Legends. And we purposely kept them outside of paywalls. So if you're wanting to visit them after church on Sunday, we hope that you do, or a Friday afternoon with coworkers. You know, like at Kauffman Stadium, you can pull right up and enjoy their crown heart. By the way, it's incredible, as all of them are. It's just an example of how they can go visit that are outside the gates that they can enjoy and enjoy safely.
Well, we'll make sure that we have some of those images on our Facebook page too, in case people are curious and haven't seen them pop up. We'll have a few there. Jen, we thank you so much. Thanks for warming our hearts and bringing this, lovely effort that really is making a difference and helping in some of those critical areas that we need that support.
Well, you are a great example of bringing people together and talking about initiatives, and you are honored to share this today, and we're so proud to share it with the rest of the community and anybody else visiting Kansas City. So thank you.
Thank you for joining us on KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice, produced by Charitable Communications, and we're proudly sponsored by the Ewing, Marion Kauffman Foundation. If you'd like to be a guest on KC Cares or Underwriting Opportunities, visit our website, kccaresonline.org. You'll find all our shows there. And spread the love. And find us on Facebook and Twitter at KC Cares Radio, and on Instagram at KC Cares Online. And you can catch us on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. on ESPN 1510 a.m. and 94.5 FM. Thank you for joining us on KC Cares. And go out and find a heart.